This is a quick skills tutorial looking at how we rearrange three-part equations. Now you may be very familiar with these triangles. We use them all the time in science to rearrange equations, but the problem with these triangles is that you would have to memorize so many in an exam that it just wouldn't be practical. In case you're not familiar, these triangles work as follows. Basically, you have three parts to an equation, so you have distance, speed, and time here. This line here represents a division line, and this line represents a multiplication line. So the idea is, for example, let's say we wanted to work out distance. We'd cover up distance, and we'd be left with speed times time. However, if we wanted to work out speed, we'd cover speed, and you'd have distance divided by time. And finally, if you want to work out time, you cover time, and you have distance divided by speed. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice visual method, but you just can't remember that many triangles. So I want to train you out of this method. Now you may already have your own system to rearrange equations, but if you don't, here's a nice easy one. All you need to remember are these three numbers, 6, 3, and 2. Remember, this is an equation. Whatever this is equals whatever that is. So you can just play around with it. For example, I could just add my own figures to make sense of this. So how could I add these figures, 6, 3, and 2, to this equation to make sense of it? Well, I could do this. I could go, right, well, 6 divided by 3 equals 2. So now that I've assigned figures to each of these factors, it becomes really easy to play around with this equation. For example, if I wanted to rearrange it in terms of time, I just have to think about these figures. Well, I need to get 3 because time equals 3. What do I have to do to 6 and 2 to make 3? Well, it's very easy. I just move speed here and time here, because 6 divided by 2 equals 3, so distance divided by speed equals time. But let's say I wanted to work out distance. Well, then I need to think about these figures again. What equals 6? Well, if I get 3 and I multiply it by 2, then I get 6. So time times speed equals distance. Let's try one more in the form of Ohm's law, where voltage equals current times resistance. So in your exam at the front, it will say potential difference or voltage equals current times resistance. But let's say I wanted to work it out in terms of resistance. How would I rearrange this equation? Well, once again, I add figures that make sense. So I take my 6, and I take my 3, and I take my 2, because 3 times 2 equals 6. So now I've assigned my values, it's much easier to rearrange. So I wanted to work out resistance. So resistance is 2. What can I do to 6 and 3 to get 2? Well, I have to divide 6 by 3. So you can see that voltage divided by current will give you resistance. 6 divided by 3 equals 2. Now let's say I wanted to work out current. Well, what do I do to 6 and 2 to get 3? Well, I have to divide 6 by 2, so it's really easy. I just move this down here and move this here. Voltage divided by resistance equals current. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. It's a really easy system that works for any three-part equation, so try it and see if it works for you.